About a month ago, I posted a video on doodle drawing for beginners, and I went over some easy ways to enhance your drawings, and we touched on lettering, but I really felt that hand lettering needed a video of its own. There is so much you can do with lettering beyond the already well-known and established fonts. So I'll show you some of my own artistic lettering practice sheets, and I want to go over something that I call shuffling. And I'm also going to be showing you a few pages from my sketchbook so you can see how I like to use artistic lettering. And at the end, I have a helpful tip that should get you going on your own creative lettering. Okay, so as you can see here, I started out by making my way through the alphabet, just playing around with ideas and styles. And I did 3 letters in a single style before moving on to the next. I would recommend making a page or 2 for yourself, not just for your own reference, but also just because the act of working through it and playing and experimenting is really helpful for getting those creative juices flowing. And you'll see that some of my letters are on the more complicated side, while others are fairly basic. I think it's important to have a variety of different looks. And keep in mind, when you're using the more extravagant styles, you probably won't be doing an entire paragraph in that style. I usually like to change up just the first letter of each word, or just the heading only. But we'll see more of that when we get to the journal pages. And I've also included a row of cursive because I often forget to incorporate cursive into my writing. Okay, let's move on to shuffling. So this is an example of how I take a number of fonts and I shuffle them all up together. I'm also mixing both capitals and lowercase, as well as using a variety of sizes. And sometimes I'll even add in little drawings and doodles having to do with my subject. And I know this looks super busy altogether like this, but adding just a sentence or two to a journal page or a sketchbook can be a lot of fun. And it's not like I've decorated every single letter. In fact, some letters are kind of plain. But I like this look. I think it's all about variety. And it makes the more decorated ones stand out when some of them are just left clean and simple. And now we're going to take a look at 3 sketchbook pages to illustrate how you might use creative lettering in your own projects. So you can see here, the title is bold. I've added interest to the first letters in family and kingdom, but otherwise, most of my writing is basic. The facts are all written in what I would consider maybe casual caps. And I really like how the fun text looks, mingled together with the watercolor images. And here's another page. This one is about the trees of the Pacific Northwest. And again, going bold with the heading. I've added a little pop to the first letter of each type of tree. And then small sketches off to the side, finish it up. These pages are really fun to create when you only have about 10 to 15 minutes to spare, but you want to do something art related. Plus, I like looking up the facts and learning something new. And finally, we have mushrooms. This might be my favorite page out of the 3. You'll likely recognize some of the font styles from the beginning of the video, and I decided to add some color to the block letters as well. Nothing too fancy, but I would say that the addition of the decorated letters definitely took this whole page up a notch. Okay, we're almost done here, so let's get into that tip that I had mentioned earlier. Okay, so I wrote this sentence with a fine tip marker, and I've used that shuffle method, working in different sizes and capital letters along with lowercase letters. And so what I'm doing now is I'm going to grab a larger tipped pen and I'm going to add some extra width to some of my lines. See how easy that is? Just tracing over the lines that are already there. So see how that looks compared to having every single line the same thickness? And you can use this sparingly, maybe just every other letter, or you can use it every single time there's a downward line. It's really up to you. In fact, you could even use it with horizontal lines only for a whole new look. But with the downward lines, I think it's kind of like a lazy version of calligraphy. A calligraphy hack. Although I know the basic concept of calligraphy, it's just not something that I have time to master, so I'm all about this lazy version. And I'm just going over the lines in that last word again to show you how easy it is to make a word stand out and pop just a little bit more. Okay, while we're at it, let's throw in some simple dots. And a row of lines. And I'm going to fill in this O over here. And what are these little lines here? They're kind of like end caps, finishing off the lines of the letters. I know there's a name for them, I just don't know what it is. So I'm just throwing in fun little details here and there, wherever I feel like it. Okay, I like that look. Simple, yet fun and playful. I'm not really sure why I chose that sentence. Not exactly fitting with the style I chose. Anyway, I also wanted to point out that while you're playing with your own text, try both curved loopy lines as well as straight angled lines, even in places that you might not expect them to be. And speaking of matching aesthetics and vibes to your subject, the swirly twirly letters might be suitable for some journal projects, but the sharp lines below create an entirely alternate vibe. I decided to try that faux calligraphy trick with cursive lettering, and it's obviously not as attractive as true calligraphy, but it's not bad. I think it's a perfectly acceptable alternative for your art journal or your sketchbook. So I hope that you have fun coming up with your artistic alphabet and giving your hand letters a little boost. And in case you haven't seen that Doodle video that I mentioned before, I'll link it right here to the left. Thank you for watching.